Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and this is my first impressions look on the APL Concept X. So this shoe is very expensive. It's coming in at $400. So if you guys want to, flex on some people and get some expensive ball shoes, then this is a great option, right? So if you guys do want to get it, I'll leave a link in the description box. And of course, APL is Athletic Propulsion Labs, and they're known for having a basketball shoe, I guess 10 years ago, that the NBA actually banned because of an unfair advantage that the shoes or their products gave to the athletes, right? So what they're claiming is you're gonna get up to 3.5 inches of vert just from wearing the shoe. Not like practicing jumping and stuff so that you jump a little bit higher, but you just put on the shoe and then your vert increases by, I guess, up to 3.5 inches, which is insane. Of course, for the full performance review, I will be testing that. But anyways, let's get it started off with the tracciones. And for the traction here in this shoe, we have a fully translucent outsole, which I guess it's cool because like you can see what's like inside the midsole. But to be honest, I don't really like translucent outsoles all too much because first of all, they yellow, which is, I guess some people do like that, but personally, I don't like it when it yellows. I like to have that icy blue look. And also sometimes the translucent rubber can be worse off than the solid rubber counterpart. Actually, it usually is. Like from my experience on the indoor court, it usually picks up more dust than the solid rubber outsole. But anyways, they have 4 colorways available, and I believe all of them had a translucent outsole. And the pattern here is, I guess it's kind of like a waffle pattern with a line pattern in between it. And then here in the forefoot, we got some circles that is supposed to outline the springs, which we'll get into. And then here in the midfoot, and I guess here in the heel, we got just like lines. And here in the heel, we have the exposed carbon fiber plate, which we'll get into, and you can see that from the bottom, which is kind of cool. The traction seems okay right now. It didn't seem to have the greatest bite. It wasn't squeaking out too much, but of course I feel like it's going to be something that I'm going to need to break in. And also the rubber seems very durable. The actual rubber is super hard. It doesn't seem very deep though. I feel like they should have made the grooves a little bit deeper for better durability. But of course, if the rubber is hard, that's good for durability as well. As far as the heel to toe transition goes, so this shoe is a little bit weird. So you have a pretty nice curve shape here in the heel, right? And then here in the forefoot, you have a nice curve shape as well. So you got that nice rocking motion from heel to toe. But like I mentioned, there is that full length carbon fiber plate like right underneath your foot, right? So this shoe does not bend. Look at that. I mean, it bends a little bit, but like I gotta really put some force in it. I feel like it bends easier, obviously, under the weight of your body, but for the most part, it's pretty damn stiff. And that carbon fiber plate is supposed to help you kind of like spring you forward, and I guess help you get that extra vert when you jump up. Because when you're jumping and then you use your, I guess obviously your calf muscle, and then your foot, your heel raises up to get that extra bounce. This is gonna bend, and then the carbon fiber is gonna act like a spring a little bit, and then like propel you up. The thing is, I don't think the carbon fiber plate is all that new. I mean, they've done it in Jordans, they've done it in old school shoes as well. So that technology isn't new. But as far as the cushioning goes, they also have this load and launch technology with 10 springs. So the Super Future, the shoe that I did before, has 8 springs. This shoe has 10 freaking springs here in the forefoot, and it doesn't feel like anything crazy right now as far as like, I don't feel like super springiness or anything. I feel like it's gonna be something that needs to break in, but I can definitely feel the actual plate in the forefoot here. And I can feel this like green part, as you guys can see. That's the load and launch like plate. So I can feel like the outline of that. And then as far as the midsole goes, they're using APL Future Foam, which is full length. It's just this white midsole. And it feels a good amount stiffer than the Super Future, which is interesting. It feels a little bit bouncier as far as like the rebound seems a little bit like faster in the heel as compared to the Super Future, which is right there. I don't know if you guys can see it. The Super Future feels a lot more like just soft, So I feel like that'll help with obviously getting that bounce and stuff. Court feel seems pretty good. I feel like impact protection is gonna be good as well. I'm just very interested to try and see if this actually increases my vert. My vert is terrible. I got no hops, so if this will help me, that'll be dope, you know. Also, another cool thing about the shoe is that the insole is very nice. It's nice and plush. It definitely improves the step and comfort of the shoe, so I really like that. As far as the upper goes, they're using a full-on knit. Like the entire upper is knit, which is insane. They're calling it Tech Loom. It's just a knit, which is dope. Here in the forefoot, we got a well-ventilated knit. You guys can see all the ventilation holes. It reminds me of, like, you know, Nike runners or something like that. And then here on the edge of the toe box, we got more knit, so that'll increase durability if you do toe drags and stuff like that. And then on the lateral and medial side, we have like this like triangle, and I guess you can see like the Star of David in that as well, which is kind of cool. And that obviously helps with lateral support, and I guess just making this the overall material more rigid for support. And it's basically dual layered, you know. They just kind of like layer that on top of the actual knit. Here in the heel, like where your Achilles is, you have like an elastic band, which doesn't really do anything. And in this colorway, this is, I thought it was more just like a gray color when I saw the pictures online, but then when I got it, I was like, yo, this is very shiny. It's very metallic, you know. It's bedazzled, you know what I'm saying. And then as for stretchy knit, you got a very stretchy knit here in the ankle collar, which feels great. You can open it up real wide, slide your foot and all that. And then here in the midfoot, you also have a stretchy type of knit with a lot of ventilation holes. Everywhere else, like here in the toe and also on the lateral and medial side, is more just like a non-stretchy knit, which is good. Like I mentioned, it's one booty, so there is no independent tongue. The tongue is actually attached to this one booty upper. And you have laces, you got flat laces actually. And the eyelets go through like a fly wire type of string, you know, and it reminds me of like the D-Rose 8. Hopefully it's not like the D-Rose 8, because a lot of people had durability issues, like the string actually like ripping off and stuff like that. So hopefully that's not an issue. But you know, it's a basic lacing system. I feel like it's way better than the Super Future, because the Super Future it's just elastic bands. It's not like super tight on the shoe, you know. In the Concept X, you actually have laces. So the overall quality of the materials is super nice. The here in the toe box is very thin. It conforms to your foot very well. It's very comfortable on foot too. And that's something that I miss, you know. Nowadays, major companies aren't putting knit in their basketball shoes anymore. They're kind of moving back towards, like, I guess, synthetic materials or like old school materials, I feel like, or like mesh. So this is a nice breath of fresh air. One thing I forgot to mention about the cushion, like the spring load and launch technology, is that in my right pair, I don't know if you guys can hear, but can you guys hear that? The air coming out. So I asked the guys over at APL and they said that's normal. Air is supposed to come out of the load and launch. So I was like, okay, if that's normal, that's fine. But it doesn't really happen in my left pair. Oh no, it does happen a little bit. Not as much though. So yeah, that's just a little thing. If you guys do notice that, APL said it's completely normal, so you don't really have to worry about it. As far as the fit goes, I went true to size and it fits me pretty well. There is a little bit of length. I would say maybe like a centimeter. So it's not a huge deal though. I don't need my toe to be like directly right next to like the tip of the toe. That's fine. But obviously if you do mind that, I would probably suggest going down half size, but just watch out for the overall fit, especially here. Width wise, I would say it's slightly narrow, and here in the toe box, it's not like super snug like the KD13s are, where like you can't even curl your toes, but I would say it's a snug enough fit to where it feels nice and secure. There's not a lot of dead space or anything here in the toe box. Also here in the midfoot, it feels nice. The knit stretches over your foot as well. And also I feel like, you know, obviously most knits, even though if it's like a battle knit or whatever, most knits stretch out. Most meshes stretch out over time once you break it in, once you start playing in it. So I feel like that's gonna be the case here in this shoe as well. Also, this shoe is super easy to put on. Like I mentioned, you just look at this stretchy knit collar. I love it. So you just open that up, put your foot in, you're good to go. I also really like the addition of, it's like one Achilles pad, I would say, and that feels very nice on the Achilles. It also helps with heel lockdown, which feels great. And as far as the support and lockdown goes, I feel like it's gonna be good. You know, you have a little bit of an outrigger, so the rubber outsole here does protrude out here on the lateral side in the toe, giving you lateral stability. As far as lateral containment goes, here in the heel, you have an internal TPU heel counter. Also in the heel, you have the foam coming up to act as a sidewall. And then as far as the forefoot goes, I mean, you don't really have all too much, but as you guys can see, this knit is double layered and it feels very stiff. you know, so I feel like lateral containment is going to be good. And of course, this is very, very high on the ankle. It is a very soft knit material, so I don't think it's going to be the best ankle to wear. Like, didn't feel like it was the best, but you get a little bit of something, you know. All right, as far as the weight goes, I mean, the Super Future was super heavy, right? It was like 14 ounces, which was kind of crazy. This definitely does feel hefty. It doesn't feel bulky at all because the upper is just so minimal. There's like no padding throughout this entire upper besides like the Achilles pad. It's basically just this knit, which is nice. So obviously most of the weight is going to be coming from the outsole and the midsole, right? So I'm guessing like 14-15 ounces. Yeah, 14.39 ounces. And let's check the left pair. Probably the same. Yeah, 14.39. Okay, that's crazy. Like, usually shoes from the left to right pair have like a different weight, like up to 0.1, 0.2 ounces, but it's exactly the same in both of these shoes. So that's dope. That says something about quality control, right? Okay, so it feels minimal because the upper is very minimal, but it feels pretty bottom heavy, and it feels very rigid and very supportive because of that carbon fiber plate. So yeah, it's a pretty weird shoe. Like it feels very interesting as far as like when you put it on, you kind of like walk around in it. But yeah, I hope the weight isn't a huge issue. Obviously we'll have to see on that. As far as the aesthetics go, I actually like it. You know, this silver colorway I actually really like. I don't like how metallic the knit is though. It's like super bedazzly, very shiny, and I don't like that as much. I feel like I should have gone with like the black one's pretty dope. I do like the overall silhouette as well. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, my first impressions are pretty good. Right now to me, it feels like a solid basketball shoe, very comfortable, very high quality and all that. But I'm very, very curious as to what this load and launch technology is going to do for me personally. Is it going to make me jump higher? We'll have to test that. And also, is it going to make me feel a little bit faster, maybe like on my first step because of this carbon fiber plate when I'm like kind of going, you know, from the first step? Is it going to like kind of propel me forward? Am I going to feel a little bit faster because of that? I don't know. I'm pretty excited to try all of that out. And of course, stay tuned for the full performance review. Again, if you guys want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.